When I was a kid, my mum and I used to go on adventures and deliberately get lost for fun. We'd get in the car, she'd drive, I'd direct. And I'd say, go left, go right, go straight ahead, go round the roundabout 3 times and over that bridge. And we'd keep going until we were somewhere that neither she nor I had ever been before. And when we got there, I'd always get that buzz in my tummy where you think, what happens now? That is the excitement of the unknown. What I was learning there was just to enjoy the unknown, to feel comfortable in it. But if you really want to explore the unknown, then you need an additional toolbox of skills, training, and experience. Going on adventures, exploring the unknown, 2 sides of the same coin. You might think an adventure is something exciting, but exploring the unknown is scary. But really, if you think about it, it's not possible to go on an adventure without there being some element of the unknown. I'm a scientist, and I've been on some adventures. Both of these involve exploring the unknown, just with different toolboxes. In fact, as scientists, we have a mandate to explore the unknown and report back what we learn. Many people think that science is about facts and answers, but it's not. It's all about asking questions. And whenever you find an answer to one of those questions, it invariably raises another question. So you're continually in a state of not knowing, which is the exciting edge of science, like the exciting edge of any adventure. Crossing that frontier into the unknown. Whether you are lost in a foreign country, or stuck halfway up a mountain, or looking at some really weird results in the laboratory, the most important thing when you reach that frontier is to keep a cool head, draw on your toolbox of skills and experience and training, and then take a considered step into the unknown. And with every step you take, your toolbox grows. When I was 18, I went traveling on my own. I learnt foreign languages and self-resilience. When I was 23, I moved to Canada to do a PhD, and there I learnt the tools of a scientist. And when I was 27, I got the job of my dreams, working as a scientist on a remote Antarctic base. While there, I started blogging about my experiences in the long polar winter. And that was my first foray into science communication, which is the field that I work in today. But despite this ever-growing toolbox, there's one adventure I went on where I was not sufficiently prepared. It was early 2010, and I had agreed to sail across the Pacific from southern Chile to New Zealand in a very small boat with my very new husband. I didn't have much sailing experience, and so for me, every day was an adventure. Just putting up a sail was an adventure, or cooking on a crazy angle, wearing ridiculous clothes, doing night shifts, 3 hours on, 3 hours off, navigating. All of these, for me, were forays into the unknown. I found our first week at sea really hard, not only because I didn't know how to sail, but because we also got hit by a really bad storm. So I was overjoyed when we reached land, the beautiful Juan Fernandez Islands, about 300 nautical miles directly west of Chile. We went for long hikes, we ate delicious food, we met beautiful new people, and I slept so well, rocked to sleep in our little boat, happy to be in a deep, safe, and protected bay. On the 5th such night, Chile was hit by a big earthquake. You might remember it. That earthquake triggered a tsunami that hit the town that we were visiting. It was the middle of the night and cruelly dark. People were woken as their houses were washed into the sea. And there were we, on a little boat, not far offshore. We felt a weird motion as the wave arrived, but its real impact happened when it hit the steep hillside just beyond us and carried everything that it came into impact with down the hillside back into the sea. 2-story houses, people, massive trees in the water around us, and the water doing this crazy motion, sometimes really fast, sometimes really still. I had no comprehension of what was going on. I was clueless. And I had no idea what to do. So, for a while, I did nothing. Despite the chaos and disaster that was unraveling around me, I did nothing. In contrast, my husband, Andy, jumped into action. Unlike me, he has spent a lot of time in extreme outdoor environments and emergency situations, and he was able to draw on that toolbox to keep a cool head and take a considered step into the unknown. In the moment that my head emptied of all usefulness, he became incredibly clear-headed and calm. And his clarity enabled me to wake up out of my stupor and help him in tangible ways. I could hold a rope, find dry clothes for wet people, communicate his plan. That night, we pulled people out of the water and saved lives. And after the event, although I would not wish that experience on anyone, I was glad to have been there, to have been able to make a difference and help save lives. We can't always pick our adventures. I shared that story because I think it contains some important lessons. The unknown that I really want to talk to you about today is climate change, which is an adventure that we are all on, whether we like it or not. And right now, we are standing at that frontier. And some of you might feel about climate change like I did that day. You know there's a problem, you just don't know what to do about it. And so, you do nothing. But it is so much more empowering to act, to do something, to make a difference and save lives, to help those people with the toolbox and the plan in tangible ways. Voice, votes, action. Oh, sorry. I'm trained as an atmospheric chemist. That's someone who studies molecules in the air, like the greenhouse gases. You probably know that greenhouse gases warm the atmosphere. What you might not know is that this is a good thing. If there were no greenhouse gases in the air, the Earth's average temperature would be minus 18 degrees C. Instead, the Earth's average temperature is plus 14 degrees C. That's 32 degrees of good warming that we have thanks to the natural abundance of greenhouse gases. It's like a great big feather duvet wrapped around the planet, keeping the Earth's temperature in exactly the right range that has allowed human societies to flourish. A great big feather duvet. And what we're doing now is stuffing more feathers in that duvet. Not actually that many, just maybe enough to give us 2 or 3, 4, maybe 5 or 6 degrees of extra warming. Nothing compared to that massive duvet, but enough that it's had the effect of kicking the Earth's natural temperature regulation system out of balance. And that has serious implications for the climate and therefore our experience as humans on this planet. And what we really need to do, if we want to stay in a vaguely familiar environment, is stop stuffing feathers in that duvet, or at least slow down the speed that we stuff feathers in the duvet. In an ideal world, we'd be taking out the feathers that we put in there in the first place, not arguing about who put the feathers there or why they put them there or what exactly they're doing there. We need to take tangible action. Do you remember those scientists whose job it is to explore the unknown and report back what they learn? They are telling us unequivocally that human influence on the climate system is clear. They have discovered that the Earth's temperature regulation system is out of balance, and why, and even what we need to do in terms of reduction of our greenhouse gas emissions to rectify things. But scientists cannot tell us how to do this. For that, we need to turn to people with a different toolbox to keep a cool head and take a considered step forwards. Teachers, parents, community leaders, politicians and political activists, policymakers, environmental advocates, artists, writers, journalists, lawyers, economists, international diplomats. And those people with the toolbox and the plan, and you might be one of them, they need our help in tangible ways, voice, votes, and action, so that we can collectively actually take that step across the frontier. Andy and I spoke a lot about that night in Juan Fernandez, as you might imagine. And what we realized was that when the tsunami hit, Andy was much more scared than I was, precisely because he understood the scale of what was going on and the implications. We need to listen to those experts. This is an adventure that we're all on, whether we like it or not. And we have to take a considered step forwards. But we're not powerless. Just like those trips I went on with my mum, we might not know exactly where we're going to end up, but we do have control over what direction we go in, how far we go, and how fast we get there. It's called driving carefully, not driving blind.